If you had to sum up cornhole in one word, what would it be?
Hard as shit.
I'm here with former NFL running back Terry Kirby, and I have a couple questions for him. If you had to sum up cornhole in one word, what would it be?
Hard as shit.
Hard as shit.
Probably one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. What first got you into cornhole, and what keeps you going along with it?
For me, I grew up in Virginia, so we grew up throwing horseshoes. So for me, that was one of the things when I got to South Florida. Probably, I've been here a long time, but I started playing probably 7 years ago, just in the backyard at my buddy's house. And then for the last 3 years or so, I just started to play a little bit more, a couple tournaments, blind draws. And for me as an athlete, it's the competitive part.
Yep.
And I'm so used to playing on a team, and I can always count on someone else, my teammate, and this and that. With this game, it's just you. And I think that's what makes it that hard.
100%. It's weird because I actually played horseshoes a lot before I played cornhole,
Right.
which, looking at me, you wouldn't expect that.
Well, the hardest thing is just it's the mental aspect. For me, I get nervous, and I'm like, why am I nervous? I played in front of thousands of people,
Yep.
I'm football fields and stadiums after stadiums after stadium, and I get here, and it's just me, and I'm sitting there shaking, and I'm like, I don't, why I have nerves?
And it's just you, two wooden boards, and 4 beanbags.
That's what makes it hard.
Yeah. So what keeps you hooked to the game of cornhole?
It's around a lot of good people.
Yeah.
It's very competitive. I think the competitive part of it is what brings people back. A lot of people, the pros are there, and you watch them, and you're like, man, why can't I do that? I go, it's just a bag, just throw it in a hole, and you watch those guys, and you want to get there, and you just keep pushing, and you keep pushing for it, and the practice part of it is what makes you good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What do you think makes cornhole special compared to other sports?
You know what? I wish cornhole would have the spectator part of it. I don't know how you're going to be able to change that part of it, to get people there to really understand and watch it, and not just the players is there for the tournament.
Right.
I think people have to come out and see that this is such a skill set. It's like, people say, shooting 3-pointers, hitting a baseball, those are skills. Are you athletic? Yes, but it's also a skill set. Right. So, and I think cornhole is one of those sports that's such a skill set that, anyone can play. Mm-hmm. If you practice, anyone can play. And I think that's why the game is growing as much as it has.
Yeah, the way I see it is you got to kind of have an athletic skill set to play these other sports, where cornhole is kind of open to any sort of background, any sort of...
Doesn't matter.
Right, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
And it's just I think that's the benefit of cornhole.
Absolutely. It's I always say it's like, kind of like golf and these sports that are skill set like that. Do you really have to be an athlete, or you just have to be a person that practices and practices and practices to master an art?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because there's competitive people out there that don't play sports. They're competitive at cards or games.
Exactly.
And stuff like that. And
Absolutely.
I think that cornhole can fill that gap for a lot of people.
100%. I think it does.
So now you've played cornhole on TV, but like you said, also playing on the field in front of thousands of fans. Can you compare those moments and how they're a little bit similar?
For me, I think when I played Super Bowl, and I played with Rosie, who's down there in South Florida, who actually got me more into the game. I think that was a great feeling, being on national TV and playing cornhole. So it's funny, I got all my buddies that I played with. They're like, what are you doing on TV playing cornhole? It's like, and then was it 2 years ago, we were on the Jersey Shore.
Yep.
On the Jersey Shore, they had us playing cornhole, and everyone's like, who in the hell are you? So everyone started laughing about it, but it's to me, it's just exciting. I love it. And when I come here and people are like, damn, this guy's a professional athlete, to me, I'm just one of you guys trying to play this game.
Exactly. And I think the difference between, obviously, I haven't played at that level, but
Right.
being on that field with your team is different than being on that spotlight where it's just you. There's no team besides your doubles partner, maybe.
That's the hardest part for me.
Yeah.
My entire life, I've always been on a team, and now being an individual in this game, it's only you. If you mess up, it's you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you could be like that spotlight player on one of these big teams, but it doesn't matter about cornhole. You are the spotlight.
You are the spotlight, and that's the thing. If you have a bad day, it ain't no one else you can blame it on but you.
Right, exactly. What would you tell kids or former athletes about cornhole that want to keep their competitive fire going?
I think you should try it. You know, it's kind of, for me, when I first retired, you know, it was golf, you know, and I still play golf now. But golf, you're out there for a long period of time. You know, it's a long time. And you're talking about a really skill set. That is a real skill set. And playing cornhole, for me, you can be inside, you can play it anywhere. Golf, you got to go to the course, you got to do this. You know, actually, I set up boards in my house when I need to practice. You know, I have enough room that I can set it up in my house. I think it's one of those games that you can play for a long time.
Right.
You know, there's certain sports that, you know, for my son is 20 years old. He's playing football at UVA, and I got him into it. So it's one of those sports that you can play with your kids forever.
Right.
You know, there's certain things that you'll be able to do a long period of time with your kids. And for me, I want to be competitive with him.
Yep.
You know, if I whip his ass, I whip his ass. You know, there's certain things you want to do, you know, like skiing, playing tennis, you know, pickleball, whatever it is which you can do with your kids for a long time. As a parent, I think it's amazing.
Because it's open. Like, there's so many kids that are getting involved in cornhole.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously their parents are the ones bringing them to these cornhole events. And then the dads or the moms saying, like, I can do that. There's other
Absolutely.
parents when you're playing. And that's the beauty of this sport, is it's accessible to
Absolutely.
age.
Pretty soon, you know, what they should do is do a kid-parent game. You know, why not? You know, especially a certain age, have the kids play with their parents and stuff, and, you know, make that a fun part of it. That way you can get more families involved in it. Because you're here at these tournaments all day, so why not be here with your families?
No, absolutely. Back home, we used to run a Cats in the Cradle tournament where
Right.
it's like father-son,
Oh, that's
father-mother.
perfect.
Well, any sort of matchup.
That's awesome.
What would you say to the people that hate on cornhole without actually playing it or coming to a tournament to experience the vibes?
It just depends on what they're hating on it. You know, everyone, you hate on it because you see it at tailgates and you see it at certain things. You know, that's the only reason you can hate on cornhole. I mean, think about it. There's so many other games, you know, ping pong, but, you know, at tailgates that people play cornhole. They throw the ball, the football one, you know, they have certain games that you play. It's just a fun game to play.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know how can you hate on something that you've never tried and had fun at it. You know, most of the time it's probably because you suck.
Yeah.
You know, so people hate on it, but you know what, just like anything else, you practice.
And it's like, we're going back to the golf setup, where golf is that social game, but also the competitive aspect where you want to be a good golfer. And like you said, the accessibility to it, you have to go to a golf course to play golf. Cornhole, you can kind of set up no matter where you live, outside,
Anywhere.
inside, anywhere.
Anywhere.
And that's why I kind of see the growth of cornhole keep going up, because the more that people get cornhole in front of their eyes and see the game being played or actually play it themselves, I think it has that appeal where
Right.
anybody can play.
You know, the one thing about cornhole, which is tough, and people get frustrated because you see the pros and how many pros there are, and you're like, how do I grow as me? Like, how do I become pro? I can't beat these guys out here, but you know what? I can beat my guys.
Right.
You know, to me, that if I can continue going to regionals and the blind draws and winning, for me, that's enough. If I never become a pro, I'm okay with that. You know, it's not something I would love to be able to do it, to be one of the first, you know, professional athletes to actually become pro cornhole.
Right.
But I would want to do it the right way.
Absolutely,
You
yeah.
know, I want to win myself into
Earn
being
it.
a pro.
You wanna
I want to
earn
earn
it.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.